It's The Perfect Union, the perfect podcast for the perfect country, brought to you by your perfect host, Hank Thompson, for you, the perfect listener. Hello, everybody. Perfect Union is the politics wing of Winners and Losers Enterprises and Apocalypse training courses. Don't forget to sign up for upcoming class. Election 2020. The apocalypse starts then. Hi, guys. I didn't have time to really write up an apocalypse joke. It's me. I'm back. My trademark reemerging on a random schedule from another sojourn into yet another odd internet project or some kind of video thing I've been doing. So sorry for taking so long to get back to putting a podcast up on Libsyn. And to those of you that have been subscribed, I appreciate that you've clicked play and are listening. So thank you so much. Been busy, been actually kind of humping away on this whole thing and kind of battling health, not like bad health, but like I've been eating like shit lately and just not feeling good. And so anyway, a lot of that going on. To this week though, I'm back on track and I've been working out. I was working out today before 7 a.m. and that's a really good sign. Meaning if I hope it lasts for like 4 or 5 months so I don't have to do it again until like, February or something. Anyway, what I've been up to, as people who consume the podcast on YouTube know, is Twitch. I have been all over Twitch. I'm now a Twitch streaming man. I do it. You can come watch my stream and be on the Twitch with chat. I honestly, I don't know how it works. It's all very befuddling. But I've been trying. And so I'm asking you guys, if you're a podcast listener, check it out. Give it a look. You can go to Winners and Losers on YouTube, where I put up Twitch archives, or Twitch itself. You don't need an account to browse around. It's basically just like a radio. I know this is an old man word, but radio. It's sort of just having like a radio station that you broadcast in a way. I've already said this on a few other things, so forgive me if you've heard this before, but I'm been doing a kind of Twitch show in Premiere to make this podcast this whole year. Basically, I get a bunch of stuff downloaded, pictures, images, screenshots from YouTube or from internet articles and stuff, and then I record it in Premiere, and then I edit it in Premiere, and I upload it to YouTube after making the MP3 for the Libsyn. Twitch is kind of like just the sort of a better platform for doing that live. I took me a while to kind of wrap my head around it a little. I was always just sort of like, whatever, just seems something weird the young kids are up to. But now that I've kind of gotten my feet wet and my ankles are getting wet and my hairless calves are getting wet, it is, those are my pets, the hairless calves, Tony and Tony. They're twins. The Twitch thing is starting to make sense. And so actually, even though I haven't been doing a podcast on Libsyn in 2 weeks, I have put out at least 25 hours of footage of content. Some of it is music. I've been paying for this little music service that gives me some royalty-free stuff to use. Some of it's a little bit Lifetime movie-ish, like I'm about to divorce my husband or some shit, and because he slept with my secretary, or I think that's what Lifetime movies are. And then someone's a serial killer. But what the hell are they talking about? Oh yeah, so it's a variety of stuff, and I'm kind of conceptualizing the way my brain works. I have all these. I have all these like show ideas and segment ideas, and Twitch is a way to sort of play with those. And so it's going to evolve over time too. So if it's not your thing right now, maybe in the future you'll come by. We've already had a few people hanging out and watching. That's been very rewarding. It's very interactive. You type in the chat and I'll read it and we talk, and we can share links and play stuff. And so it's sort of just hanging out on there. And I've been doing like a lot of animation work. I do a lot of After Effects and Premiere, Photoshop shit. And so one of my features on the Twitch stream is the Shrimp Squad. So I have a little aquarium with cute little, they're called Neocaridina or something like that. Cherry shrimp, and they're freshwater with plants. It's beautiful. It's underwater, and so they're completely safe. They can't crawl out and explore my crevices while I'm sleeping. I prefer they do that while I'm awake. And so they're a feature on the channel. I always have them in the corner. They're the Shrimp Squad. and I'm having fun with them. We feed them. People seem to really love watching them eat. They've got babies. There's little baby shrimp running around. So I think I'm the only Twitch streamer right now that's always has the presence of shrimp babies. So you can see on the YouTube channel screen there, I have an example of it playing. Yeah, so it's just a lot of fun. We just have a good time on there. I spent a bunch of time animating Donald Trump swinging around a big purple-headed dildo and a bone. This was from one of the clips of him dancing, which are horrifying. He has all the coordination of... honestly, Elaine Bennis wouldn't even begin to describe how bad of a dancer this person is. It is an amazing example of this supreme confidence that this piece of crap has. How he isn't ashamed to do that in public. I think he's just stoned out of his mind on steroids and whatever else they've given him since he had his battle with COVID and got to enjoy very expensive, rare, medicines that no one else is allowed to have. Nothing like good socialized government medicine to keep the president alive, the guy who will tell everybody else in the world to be afraid of socialism. So this is the Trump dildo animation. I'm sorry, it's not going to be great for audio. I'll just play it real quick. There he goes. There's the king of our land. Good for him. Made a GIF on my Twitter. Share far and wide. Oh, God. Premiere's bogging down with the GIF. That's not a good sign. I've had this computer running all day, so I normally want to I should have rebooted. Yeah, so long story short, and I'm playing games. So you get to see the animation process for some things. I did some puppet artwork I drew a pig. Go on to the website to see that. I don't know why it's entertaining, but I think it's interesting. It's kind of like you get to see under the hood, and also we can talk and you can send in stuff, and you never know where it's going to go or how the conversation is going to evolve. So I'm watching some other great shows on Twitch. The Surfs I'm liking. Central Committee is another good show for lefties that I've been liking on Twitch. Ben Dixon is on Twitch a lot. I have a lot of admiration for how that guy does his thing. So he's always on Twitch, goes live all the time. Hasanabi, the dude who just played with AOC, Cenk Uyghur's nephew, who I know from working at the Young Turks, and I've edited some of his videos back when he was doing videos at TYT. He's massive on Twitch. He makes like over 100,000 a month or something. Like if you can go to sites and see like the big streamers, it's insane. It's crazy. So anyway. That's where I've been, and I'm sorry, I've been doing gaming too as well, playing Rocket League and Hades, and but I'm excited to see where it all evolves and how it all changes, and how quickly I'm able to get over the fundamental embarrassments. I don't know where it all comes from exactly. I think that's holding me back, and but it's there. So I'm trying to be honest about acknowledging it. And that's all right. It wouldn't working at some shitty office for some asshole boss be embarrassing too. It's all embarrassing. Life is embarrassing. Therefore, it's not, because we all have the same issue. Maybe not. I don't think it works quite like that. So anyway, wonderful to be back. I might be converting this podcast process to Twitch. So there might be like a way to watch me do it live. I'm not on camera yet. That's one reason I'm feeling a little pressure to work. I mean, it's not the only reason I need to be healthy, even if I weren't doing this shit, but not going on camera is a stupid thing. And I'm just waiting to lose a little weight, maybe bulk up. That's a strange, bulked down, honestly, but I'm doing some working out because I want to show off my big, beautiful husband shoulders. And, so someday that'll happen. I think I've chosen a career in comedy. I'm not afraid to go stand on stage in front of people and tell stand-up jokes. I'm not afraid to go on someone else's show on camera or act in a thing. I don't know why this is a weird thing for me. I guess because it just forces. It's like doing a Zoom call. It's kind of got that same like extra stuff, and it's one of the things is all the gears you have to pay attention to. I'm spinning every single plate. I was thinking about this actually when I was working for Jimmy Dore in 2016. He didn't, I don't mean this as like I did a lot of work, and that's why he had me there, of course. I mean, I set up camera, I would run the camera, run the sound, do all that stuff. So he didn't have to worry about any of that. Then I would take the footage home, I would edit it, I would upload it. I would upload it and I would publish it, write the YouTube stuff, do all the SEO, design the thumbnail. So like he didn't do any of that. I mean, he would weigh in if he needed to or something like that. And I can see how that's the smarter way to approach this kind of career, where as the person doing the hosting, your only job is to like decide on the stories and to do a good job telling them, and then being funny and being in the moment. But when I'm doing everything myself, I really, this has helped realizing this, like this morning, I was kind of like, oh yeah, like, God damn, no wonder I don't feel like I'm being very funny, because I'm thinking about 14 different things every second of this stuff. So one of the goals I have is to eventually get to a point where we're maybe have someone else working with us, with me here. And, I mean, that's way away considering where I'm at right now, but, anyway, well, I'm not sure why I brought that up, but yeah, it's I can see why you'd want someone else doing shit for you. So, it's been something else. So gonna keep this one short. Honestly, it's 2:30 p.m. on Thursday. We're gonna do a debate tonight. I'm probably gonna do it on Jesus. This is not. See, here we go. Biden and Trump are debating their final debate. We get to see this display of American prominence. Two titans of masculinity will be showing truly the best foot forward of a nation unequaled amongst the world, the greatest nation on earth, you might say, that also needs to be made great too, eventually, which means going back to the part where they had something approaching, socialism, which is with the 50s, where they actually you could afford a house. There was a lot of reasons why. They also prevented minorities from having access to institutional wealth and resources and land and everything else. So that's the greatness that they're looking to go back. Okay, wow, losing my track. So tonight's debate is at 6 p.m. PST, Pacific time. I'm hoping to have this podcast up by then, so I need to keep it short. It's unlikely that I will be reaching anybody before, and you'll be on Twitch with me tonight. So, because I was trying to get this recorded. I've been up since like 6 something, and just wasn't able to pull the trigger until 2:30 when I was intending to do it around 9 or 9:30. So, well, that's how it goes. So if if I am able to get this out and the debate hasn't happened, come on by and I'll share my analysis. We're going to watch it, and we'll see how it goes. That's something to look forward to. And the archive will be on the Winners and Losers YouTube channel, as well as on Twitch for like 14 days. It stays up longer if you're a partner. There's a whole like ascendancy thing, but you have to be getting big numbers. So anyway, also, if you just feel like it, you can go on Twitch and follow just to help me with one more click that will increase my follow number, I guess. So, all right, good. We've got a bunch of shit going on in the world. It is a mess. Things are just nuts right now. What a week. It's been a big week for masturbators, myself included. Jeffrey Toobin of The New Yorker, I'm not covering this. I talked about this on the Twitch stream a whole bunch, is in trouble for whacking off during a Zoom conference. He's like a CNN commentator guy, legal analyst dude. And at first it seemed like it might have been an innocent mistake. Just, maybe he changed his pants without realizing the camera's on. But no, actually he was having himself a little sexy time. And I relate to the notion of like, man, like I've, like beaten off in the car. I mean, like on a long road trip, like I get that notion, that I get the idea that you're like, all right, well, you know what? Like you ever, okay. You're camping or, I'm just saying like, but not involving anybody else non-consensually. That's the line he crossed that I think is highly inappropriate. What's so weird is there's been like defenders. People are too sensitive. Like, yeah, people are too sensitive about sex and genitals. And it's a big thing I always talk about. It's one of my favorite pommel horses, my bailiwick, my wheelhouse, if you will. But it all centers around consent. I'm for anything anybody wants to do as long as everybody involved is consenting, even including paying and hurting them. If they're consenting to it, okay, you're agreeing. And obviously within safety. I mean, people sometimes like, I don't know. I mean, choking is one. Okay, sorry. This is clearly not in my plan. This girl wanted me to choke her, and I was like, I can't. I can push you down hard. Like I'll hold you down real firmly. How about that? It's like, that's just even maybe a little. I would probably, if she, you could probably talk me into it, but I'm just saying, like, I didn't want to risk that. Like, it didn't seem to it was a weird I had to, and you know, because I'm real big on like being up for whatever. Like yeah, all right, that sounds okay, let's do it. But I was like, I don't want to do something where like you're dead and then I'm the guy who killed you. That doesn't seem like a fun outcome from the, you know. So it's like, how about if I just kind of like, it'll be choking adjacent and you'll feel I can be big and strong and that's good. Okay. Right. You know, or, you know, but anyway. All right. Well, wow. Hello. What was it? Oh yeah. Yeah. So Jeffrey Toobin, idiot, jerking off. And then it turns out we get another masturbation story hits the news real hard, real fast, real big. Well, probably not all that hard because we're talking about Rudolph the reindeer Giuliani. Now we know why they call him the reindeer. The Reigns of Castamere from Game of Thrones is about this event. This is from the Borat movie, where you've probably seen this. It hit Twitter pretty hard, and it's on screen right now. A screenshot. This movie's coming out Friday or Saturday. You know, I guess Friday, the weekend. And so everybody's excited to watch Borat. I've actually heard some pretty positive things. And I don't want to temper trying to temper what I read because I don't want to raise your expectations. But this scene involves a young woman who, in Borat, came in and apparently says something like, she's only 15. She's too old. She's only 15. She's too old for you or something. Why did I do that? I didn't even say my wife. And I guess the scenario, he was apparently taking off his microphone or she was helping him. And then he leaned back and he started putting his hands down his pants after he'd been drinking a bunch of alcohol. Michael Cohen, Donald Trump's lawyer, who helped him engage in political crimes, fundraising crimes with payments to Stormy Daniels. You know, because that's what the guy who works for the evangelical movement should be doing, is using their money to pay off porn stars in order to in the commission of a crime. Anyway, Michael Cohen knows these people all really well. He said Rudy's just drunk all the time, and he's a big drinker. So they got him drinking, and they got him. And there was a secret camera. So I actually am waiting. I'm withholding judgment because I'm the fairest man in the world. It looks bad. It looks super bad. And if I were to bet, I would bet it's bad. I don't. It doesn't seem like a great scenario. But we've only seen screen caps, and Rudy said he was tucking in his shirt, and I would never give him the benefit of the doubt. The guy's a liar. He's a scheme. He's one of the biggest ghouls in this whole story. It's plot. I've mic'd up people. I've worn mics like lavaliers that go through your shirt, and it's plausible that you would, after removing a mic, tuck your shirt in. And if you're sitting on the edge of a bed, I'm being way too generous. If you're sitting on the edge of a bed, you would lean back or stand. I would probably stand and tuck my shirt in, and I would be, you can do kind of a sneaky tuck, or you can do kind of a tucking your shirt. You unbutton. What do you do? Unbutton your pants, or you don't unbutton your pants? That's a pretty key distinction if you're going to do it in front of somebody, especially a young woman like that. So it's probably what it looks like. But there's also a decent, I wouldn't even say decent enough for me to consider it chance that he may have been in a drunken state in a hotel room with an attractive young woman. I mean, come on, let's be real here, what this fucking weird monster guy is up to. But you would have laid back to put your hand down your pants to get your shirt back in your pants. I don't know. God. Point is, and here's why I'm offering this up, is I'm aware of my bias. I know I don't like these people. I know that they're scum. I've seen it. They've been causing chaos and mayhem in our society for a long time and getting really rich off of it. They're all part of this big global churn of corruption, this kind of oligarchic upper class that wants to rule, that doesn't really have to respect boundaries. They make us think that we all live in different nation states and we're all going to get killed and fight each other over arbitrary lines on a map. But those don't really apply to them. There's these global networks of connection, and he's very much juiced into all that. And he just stinks too. He just smells like an old cigar would be too pleasant of an odor. I imagine it's just this Batman villain, this cabal of Batman villains. So we'll see. That's the other thing. We'll find out in a day. We'll know. By the time you're listening to this, you've probably already seen it. So you might be thinking this guy Hank sounds like a fucking dumbass. What, you idiot? I'm just saying the physics. You can't tuck your shirt in while you're sitting. You'd have to stand. I mean, I guess you could. It would be a little awkward. But if old guys with their paunchy bellies, it's not the same as being I was thinking Radagast the Brown. That's exactly the but one of the Vikings dudes. Anyway, I was trying to think of a young hunky man doing it, or a young hunky woman. But so fun times in the masturbation sphere here, 2 weeks out from an American election, because that's where we are as a country. Good stuff. What's next? So Trump went on 60 Minutes. This has been all over Twitter today. I guess Trump leaked the interview. For some reason they had tape. Before I play it, actually, I am going to activate a thing here. Shoot, I can't see it. And if I move it, I have to fart around. Let me see if I can't see. Yeah, here, this will work. Repair, reduce rumble. Okay, that'll actually probably help. So Trump was being interviewed by Leslie Stahl, and this is the part where he quit. I didn't watch all these clips. I just caught this morning, so I downloaded it. But there's a whole bunch of stuff where he's being interviewed, and it's the same thing as always. It's just bullshit. It's just this. He leans forward in this bizarre way. He's this strangely shaped person. He should be impeached for his fucking hair, if you ask me. And he combs his sideburns backwards over his ears. Although this shot looks like there's a little bit. Most of his ear is actually pretty visible here, but he just repeats the same thing. He's a simple person, but he's a master. He's a wizard of con man arts, the dark arts. He'd be like an ultimate Harry Potter villain. Like Voldemort would get exhausted, just be like, all right, I can't do it. Just okay. You can be the scary man now. You are worse than me. Great Voldemort. I've never done a Voldemort before. So let's just listen to what Trump is saying to Leslie Stahl here. This is him getting flustered, and we're not going to break it all down too much. I might play a bit more of this stuff on Twitch later. So here we go.
I didn't want to have this kind of thing.
Of course you did.
No, I didn't.
Of course you did.
No, I didn't.
Well, then you brought up a lot of subjects that
I said
were
I'm going to ask
inappropriately
you
brought
tough
up.
questions.
They were inappropriately brought up right from the beginning.
You brought up a lot of subjects. It's a little hard to hear. I hope it's coming through okay. I don't think this is like the mics that they on their lavalier mics that they were using. Those are pretty high quality for a 60 Minutes production for sure. His only move is to attack the journalist for being rude or for, there's no substance. The storyline, that fake news spell is I would say probably the number one thing that's, if you're ranking all the ways that he manipulates, it totally forces everybody to have to be on the defensive about what truth is all about and what's accurate and what's honest. And so he gets to claim the high ground of honesty by saying everybody else is dishonest. Don't trust anybody, only trust me. And it's one of the reasons it's brilliant is you can always fight that battle. And he's such a domineering personality. He always gets to tell any reporter. He told a reporter the other day that she's a criminal for not reporting on the Hunter Biden stuff or something. It's super effective, especially in a country in this grifter's paradise of America, where so many people are susceptible to this stuff. To being Americans are so conditioned to believe advertising and to believe authority and to just sort of like absorb what they hear. I think there's an inherent human nature to tendency to just like even when you have to debunk something, a little part of your brain, in order to even process the thing was an absolute lie or falsehood, a little part of your brain still has to kind of like give it a weight of thought that process itself validates it more than it deserves. So he preys on that. It's just like he's just turned all the dials up to 11 on what it's like to be in this kind of society, preying upon the hyper individual. Okay, I'm really going hard on here. Here, let's just keep going.
Your first question was, going to be tough questions. Well, when you set up the interview, your first statement
You're
was,
president. Don't you
excuse
think
me,
you should
no.
be accountable to the
listen,
American
your
people?
first statement to me, this is going to be tough questions. Well, I don't mind that. But when you set up the interview, you didn't say that. You said, oh, let's have a lovely interview. And here's what I do say.
So why?
You don't ask Joe Biden. I saw your interview with Joe.
He's such a coward. He's such a fucking coward. I can't believe people hear this crap and think that this is a strong person. He's whining about being asked tough questions. It's so hard for me. I don't want to be asked tough questions. You are rude. By the way, I shouldn't do that accent. Those kids that have that, they're just kind of adorable.
I never did a Joe
It was a
Biden
joke. The interview, 60 Minutes. I see Joe Biden giving softball after softball. I've seen all of his interviews. He's never been asked a question that's hard.
Okay, but
So, not only is he saying to Leslie Stahl, he's expanding the bounds to all of Joe Biden's interviews. He's never been asked a softball question. I'm not saying that I think Joe Biden has been asked the correct kind of questions. In fact, that's something that we're all going to be pissed off about from a left perspective, is how easy the people are on Joe Biden. The kind of press of course, the right's not going to be quote unquote easy on him, but they're also out of their minds, and they are, they've created this Willy Wonka fantasy world, Willy Wonka and the white supremacist factory. And so, I mean, there's this whole apparatus devoted to misinforming their own listeners and bad faith reporting of anything, and all, the right media, especially the swelling internet side of the right media, is just tons and tons of misinformation. And there's one reason they're so much more effective at it than the left is because they're all good with hierarchy. They all like to be told what to say. So Trump will utter something, and within 10 minutes, that's an exaggeration, but within an hour, within a day, every right-wing news show, every right-wing radio show that you've never heard of, that I've never heard of, there's all these little ones all over the country. There's all these little radio shows. There's all these little internet shows, all these little, local news things. And the orders just go out, and it makes sense to them. The flying monkeys are all thinking the same thing.
forget him.
No, but you start with me.
You're president.
Excuse me, Leslie, you started with me. Your first statement was, are you ready for tough questions? That's no way to go.
What an asshole. Fuck you.
No way to go.
Leslie, one second. This is the first warning. I think we have 5 minutes until we have the vice president step in. Is that about right?
Well, I think we have enough. We have enough of
I
that.
think we're ready for the vice president now.
I think we have enough of an interview here.
That's him quitting. That's him saying, no, I'm not going to. So apparently they were scheduled to have Pence and him sit together, but he didn't want to do that. Who knows why? Pence probably, didn't flatter the gold leaf trim in his bathtub or something, or when they were both sitting in a pool of protein liquid or whatever demonic rituals these people are doing.
Okay, that's enough. Let's go. Let's go meet for 2 seconds, okay? Thanks. I'll see you later. Thanks.
Okay, good job. There you go. There's the leader of the free world, a fucking monster piece of shit. At the same thing, they were, during this day of events, this hit the what did they used to say? The papers. This hit the wires. Tweet from @Mike Singleton, trying to impress her, Kayleigh McEnany, that's Trump's press secretary and Fox News host, propagandist. Kayleigh McEnany hands Leslie Stahl a large book containing the administration's work on healthcare. I don't think she expected Stahl to look at the book because it's blank. And you can see in the tweet, we have some photos here that she's this huge book. It's the smile on Kayleigh McEnany's face is sort of like, just to me screams of like, she knows she's full of shit. She knows, like, look at this old lady barely able to hold this huge book here. I guarantee there's nothing substantive in there whatsoever. The whole thing about it being blank, I backed up onto the picture. There it is that I again, this is almost like the Rudy thing. Like, she's only opened the first, it's hard to see it, but it's at least the first 2 or 3 pages maybe. And oftentimes there are blank pages in things. So there's an excellent chance the entire thing is blank. But unless Leslie Stahl comes out and says I riffled through it, right? Rifled. What do you do when you flutter all the pages? It's probably just like a flip book of Trump, like doing like, falling over or something. I could have come up with something much funnier than that. But it's like the other pages are not visible. We only see one page, and it's clearly at least part of it is blank, and it's near the first 2 or 3 pages. No, I don't think it's filled with healthcare work that all these people have done, especially the trust that they've established, which is that you shouldn't trust them. You have no reason to trust these people. They've pulled stunts where they have held up blank stuff in 2016 when Trump held up the all the paperwork for his transfer of businesses to his children. Now he didn't divest from any of it. He didn't put anything in a blind trust, but he made a big show of handing it over to his kids. Wink, wink, wink. By the way, look at all these papers. This is all the stuff I have to sign. And it turned out they were all blank. They went out and I bought a bunch of manila folders and blank pages. Which just shows how lazy they are too. Lazy and also insulting to everybody. They just think they can get away with it. I think I don't know if it was the same event, but he featured his own products, Trump winery stuff. And he had steaks that were from Trump steaks closed years before that. So there were no Trump steaks. He had a pile of steaks and just said, these are my steaks. So I wouldn't be shocked if this is all blank bull crap, but it is a bound book. I don't know, whatever. So we'll find out this weekend. It'll be on 60 Minutes when they air it. Although there's already a lot of clips out too. Great. All right. Let's keep pushing here. Where are we at on time? 35 minutes. You know what? Oh my God. I've really long. Okay. Here's Trump. Okay. This is the kind of thing that should trigger a major investigation and should get people, if there is, because it's almost certain that what he's talking about happened or a version of it happened. This is during a campaign rally a few days ago where he's speaking about, I don't know what led up to it, to be honest, but let's just play it. You'll understand. It's about ExxonMobil as an example about the way he operates as president. Here we go.
The greatest fundraiser in history. All I have to do is call up the head of every Wall Street firm, head of every major company, head of every major energy company. Do me a favor, send me $10 million for my campaign. Yes, sir. Okay, that's bad. That's not even the bad part of this video, though. He just gets to call up people and shake them down for money. Now, this is almost business as usual in this clumsy, stupid way he just put it. But these politicians have to spend hours every day on the phone. There are rules about where you're allowed to do it. You're not supposed to. The Hatch Act prevents you from doing it on government property, although that's been violated numerous times by Trump and Kellyanne Conway, Kayleigh Mack. All these people that work for him have been campaigning for him on government property. That's a use of government resources for your political campaign. That's illegal. But even just the senators and the representatives, they have telecom telephone centers. They have call centers where they call it, I think they call it call time, where they have to spend hours because part of their staffers, there's a wing of every office where they do fundraising. And so they know who their donors are and they have these big lists and they have to sit there and they have to call people and they say, hey, Bill, remember, hey, how's your girlfriend? Hey, remember when we covered up that murder? Hey, remember when we helped get that drunk judge drunk and then we blackmailed him into letting your kid go for the rape charges? Remember that when we did that when we got caught with drugs, but we blamed it on our housekeeper and now she's in jail. Remember that? Well, guess what, buddy? Time for another $1,000 because these radical leftists are running a primary against me. So why don't you fork over some money? There have been some politicians who've spoken about this stuff, and they talk about how demoralizing and humiliating and crazy it is that they have to devote so much of their time to raising money. One of the many, many reasons why we need to have campaign publicly funded finance as public financing for elections, as well as shorter election seasons, and just less. It's just the whole thing is just all corrupt. It's just all a way to just boil money so that the powers that be keep making big profits that they're making. They don't. Okay, let's go. But there's more to this though. They say the only thing is, why didn't you ask for more, sir? I would take in more money, but you know what? I don't want to do that, because if I do that, I'm totally compromised. Because
he's only partially compromised.
when they call me, you're a loyal person, and what happens is, hey, you'll do things that are a lot more money. So
that was him censoring himself. That was him going, you'll do things that are, don't say it. Don't say it. We're still yet to get to the bad part.
when the press says, and we're raising a lot of money, we're raising a lot of small money, a lot of 61, 62, no Republicans ever done that. But when I start calling, I would be the greatest fundraiser in history. Don't forget, I'm not bad at that stuff anyway. And I'm president.
He went bankrupt 6 times in the casino business, a business where people are addicted to giving you their money. And he went bankrupt. Likely there's some scheming and money laundering shenanigans going on. Those tend to be kind of complicated, any kind of big pile of money. But I fucking hate this guy so much.
So I call some guy, the head of Exxon.
Here we go. The head of Exxon, who, I don't know who the current CEO is, but the previous CEO is Rex Tillerson, who Trump appointed to be the Secretary of State for America. One of the globe's greatest plunderers, the CEO of Exxon, a lifelong oil guy, Rex Tillerson, became, for the first time, he got a government job when Trump was anointed president. And this man has scoured, him and his other oil barons, his oil buddy, pals, his capitalist fucking monsters, have scoured the earth and taken resources from nations all over the planet. And I mean, they have so much influence over governments because they're always signing giant trade deals and giant contracts. And it's so right out the bat, they put the Exxon CEO at an extremely high place in American society. So there he is. Now in his hypothetical, he would suggest that maybe I'll call up the CEO of Exxon.
I call the head of Exxon. I don't know, but I'll use a couple. Hi, how you doing? How's energy coming? When are you doing the exploration? Oh, you need a couple of permits, huh?
Okay. Oh, is there a favor I could do for you as the president, huh?
Okay. But I call the head of Exxon. I say, I'd love to send me $25 million for the campaign. Absolutely, sir. Why didn't you ask? Would you like some more? And
there you go. 25 million too. He's not even speaking like the maximum individual donation, I think, is 2,500. Is he making a verbal mistake? Earlier he said 10 million. I'm not going to give him that benefit. Because there's all sorts of ways that these guys can donate to super PACs and dark money groups. Let's just back it up just a touch to start this one over a little bit.
But I call the head of Exxon. I say, I'd love to send me $25 million for the campaign. Absolutely, sir. Why didn't you ask? Would you like some more? And if I make the call, now people make the call, it's different, but if I made the call, I will hit a home run every single call. I would raise $1 billion in one day if I wanted to. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do it.
Fuck you. So he's bragging about being corrupt. Like the most generous interpretation is, he doesn't understand. He's actually just describing how fundraising works in general. And this is why it looks like that, because it all is like that. They do. I don't know if they make the promises so explicitly. They probably do. I almost guarantee they do. They certainly often have ideological congruence for sure, but that is what campaign finance corruption is. And there's so many other ways too. Can you get my kid a job? Can you get my wife on the board at this company? Can you do this? So guess what? My pal over here is looking to make a move in this sector in that area, but we don't like that there's one congressman. We need you to fund the opponent of this other guy that's going to be in the way. There's all sorts of ways that these people manipulate stuff that don't make it into the microphones. And this just happens to be one case where he's explaining what seems to be quid pro quo corruption straight up. So, but he got cheers for it. The audience loves it. You're like dumb Jesus. You're the Jesus. You're the fourth coming of Christ, our God, our Lord, our Holy Savior, to implement the Christian hegemony over the world via dominionism they're just power mad. The way religion is wielded in this country to maintain power and to impose white supremacy and all this other bullshit. That's that's not bullshit. It's a very real, very dangerous threat. baked into the fabric of our society from the very, very get-go by the founders of the country. So yeah, it's all for them. It's all for the billionaires. And here's Obama. I'm only going to play this speech. So Obama finally is turned up to raise his voice. He usually likes to spend his time lecturing people that they should vote, which is a way of saying it's your fault, not mine. So it's his way of saying people got complacent and lazy. I think that's something I shouldn't be quoting it or whatever, so I should look it up. But I know that he does a podcast with Michelle, or she does a podcast or something. Hillary's got a podcast now. She probably heard about all the fun I'm having too. So pretty soon she's going to be on Twitch. Hello there. Oh, hold on. I got it. Which audio? Hi. We're playing Call of Duty. Bill. Yeah, Hillary, what's up? Can you? Okay. All right. I could do that for a while. Obama is an amazing speaker. He is a master orator when he wants to be. He can also be the most boring and staid and thoughtful. Not that thoughtful is bad, but he knows he has a gear that he can switch into when he wants to fight something. So when he's attacking the left and making sure that there's not too much of that dang Bernie style socialism looming in the distance, he'll marshal the troops. During his administration, it was so frustrating how fucking dispassionate he would often be. Not that you want a president being a completely, Jonathan Keats, some passionate poet. I don't know. But this is him in full battle mode, and I actually like seeing it. He the stature and the status of this guy. I have massive problems with him, but he does give a good speech, and he does attack Trump really well, credibly, and hopefully this gets under Trump's skin and throws him off or whatever. I frankly would like to have seen a lot more of it. Maybe you could argue that because it's not that much, it's more powerful because you dilute it when you do it a lot, but he's barely been out. I would say he's been somewhat vocal, very much trying to respect that norm of not saying too much about the next presidency, or not, the former president's club is always, but this is not a time for that nonsense. George W. Bush probably wouldn't be crapping on Jimmy Carter, but Barack Obama absolutely should be much more vocal about this. So he was pretty fiery about a lot of this stuff. You could tell he's probably having fun. One of the people who are really good at giving speeches are usually enjoying themselves on stage, or at least enjoying the power that they're receiving from the audience too. I can tell some stand-up. I mean, I just know how it feels to be on stage with people staring at you, especially when you make them laugh. It's a really powerful feeling. Like preachers and every public speaker, the best part is getting laughs. That's why stand-up is so addicting, because you just all you're doing is getting laughs, and then it's just nothing but anger, hate, jealousy, misery, frustration, and sadness for the rest of the time. Let's hear what he's saying though.
In the Oval Office with both of the men who are running for president, and they are very different people.
Well, light mayonnaise is different than full strength mayonnaise. Yeah, okay.
I explained that I never thought Donald Trump would embrace my vision or continue my policies, but I did hope, for the sake of the country, that he might show some interest in taking the job seriously. But it hasn't happened. He hasn't shown any interest in doing the work, or helping anybody but himself and his friends, or treating the presidency like a reality show that he can use to get attention. And by the way, even then his TV ratings are down. So that upsets him.
Ugh. Okay, listen. All right. Sorry, I'm having two thoughts at the same time. Going after Trump on ratings is effective because he cares. And we all know that he cares. And we know that he cares because we've all been forced to inhabit his psyche, which is true of almost any leader, especially in this country where the presidency is such a strongly culturally significant force, politically and culturally. So we all know that it's the toddler. Again, toddlers are good people. It's not fair to toddlers, but this broken messed up person who has the sophistication of an emotionally damaged toddler cares about his ratings. And so Trump hitting him on his ratings, it's just sad. It's just sad. Not that Obama's sad. I'm saying it's sad that all of us have to know that we know that one way to get under his skin is to say he's not getting enough people to pay attention to him. There really is. I can just picture a children's book where there's some monster terrorizing a village, and the book resolves finally in the last few pages when they all realize if they just turn their backs, the monster will go away, and then the monster goes away. But we've put ourselves in this position where like there's no turning away from the monster because the monster has a direct line to millions and millions and millions of people via social media, the even more millions via his media apparatus, the right-wing media apparatus, and even broader through the mainstream media apparatuses. And he has nuclear weapons that he could launch whenever he wants. So we do need to be on guard. So good job scoring points, Obama. Now here's the second thought. The Democrats, to their credit, have been doing events to cars. I think they let some people, I think there's like a social distancing protocol that they follow so people are out of their cars, but there's a lot of, they're setting up in parking lots and stuff. And you see all these cars and people honk. So it's like going to a drive-in movie, but it's a drive-in political event. And people honk. And it's so weird. There's just something so dystopian about the honking. So we're going to listen to the honking here after his little ratings joke or ratings quip. There's a shot. You can see it. There's a bunch of people. They're standing outside of the cars, but people are sitting in their cars. Oh, it's so crazy.
But
the honking is goofy. That was a very brief bit of it, but it's just the honking is goofy. I hadn't actually watched that first part. There's a part later in this that is why I'm bringing this up, and I might get into a little more information about it on Twitch because I wasn't able to find the information I was looking for before I started this episode, this recording. Here we go.
the thing is, this is not a reality show. This is reality. And the rest of us have had to live with the consequences of him proving himself incapable of taking the job seriously. At least 220,000 Americans have died. More than 100,000 small businesses have closed.
He could have mentioned, maybe he didn't see the study, but there's some, sorry, I don't have the name of it, but there was a study out that showed, like, I think they determined that 130,000 deaths could have been prevented. I would bet, honestly, that it should be higher, the number of prevention. That means that we couldn't have prevented 70,000+. I would bet that those numbers are probably in reality are probably a little bit different, but this was a more confirmed thing than some podcaster guy's opinions. So Obama should be hitting him on that. Like instead of just saying this many people died, say they didn't have to. This is a huge problem. This is an enormous fucking issue. Like it's not. You got to go further on that. You got to. Anyway, all right.
Millions of jobs are gone. Our proud reputation around the world is in tatters. Presidents up for re-election usually ask if the country is better off than it was 4 years ago. Well, I'll tell you one thing. 4 years ago, you'd be tailgating here at the Link instead of watching a speech from your cars.
Yeah. Honk, honk, honk. Honk, honk, honk.
The only people...
Here, this is the part I wanted to clip out. Rewinding a little bit. So here, just listen to this.
The only people truly better off than they were 4 years ago are the billionaires who got his tax cuts.
Yeah, well, Obama made permanent a huge percentage, I think over 90% of George Bush's tax cuts, which were set to expire as part of the stimulus, quote unquote, stimulus package that they passed. It was the only way to get any Republican support. But he gave away tons and tons and tons of money to the rich. And the billionaire wealth grew massively over Obama's. I was looking up information about it, and that's what I wanted to share. I just couldn't find the exact stuff I was looking for. And this, what he just said, is true about his own self, too.
Only people truly better off than they were 4 years ago are the billionaires who got his tax cuts.
Yeah. Billionaires did great. Now, he is talking about tax cuts. the $1.5 trillion tax cut and the reduction in corporate tax. I mean, he's not wrong, but the same charge could be made about him and his presidency. I want a world where where billionaire wealth goes down. We've got a world where if billionaires started, I'm not saying lose money. I'm saying, because that's a framing that makes it seem like it's a bad thing. They have other people's money. The wealth that they control, liquid or not liquid, belongs to other people. It came from other people's labor. It came from other people's work. Their workers, their workers' work, their inherent human value, and the inherent value of raw materials. The billionaires didn't do it. It's not theirs. It doesn't belong to them. Confiscate it. It's confiscatory. But I would love to see a world where billionaires are taxed to reclaim that money. To like Bernie's wealth tax, Elizabeth Warren's wealth tax would have been an absolute earth-shaking thing. I would have much preferred Bernie's, of course. And hopefully we see major tax increases over on these people. Wealth taxes, not just a little corporate bump, not just a little bit of this to reduce some loopholes, but massive wealth reclamation from these vampires and the enormous piles that they've got. It is insane to think that because billionaires' wealth is going up, that means that that means that society is functioning well. It is for them because they're the ones in charge. They write the rules. They bribe all the politicians all over the world to make the world work in their favor. I saw an article talking about how Jeff Bezos is on his way to being our first trillionaire. And it was said in a way of like, aren't we so proud? Humanity is about to have its first trillionaire. Isn't that something to celebrate? No, it's thievery. It's insane. The amount of homelessness in LA that you have to live with and live by and see, and it breaks your heart. It's grown so much in my time in here. There were homeless people when I first moved to LA 7 or 8 years ago, and in the last 2 or 3 years, there's tent communities under every bridge, next to every grocery store, along every street. Not every single side residential street, but you cannot escape it. Not to say that that's the thing, but it's for me, it's stressful in a selfish kind of like, it's agonizing. You're supposed to feel bad when you see someone like that, meaning like if you have a heart, if you care, if you see someone suffering, if you, and what, you know, it's homelessness and billionaires are directly connected phenomena. Because the billionaires prevent societies from helping people because they choke the life of the money, the blood out of society so that they can hoard it all for themselves. It's an abomination. It's utterly crazy that we've let it get to this point. Let's just finish off Obama here.
Right now, as we speak, Trump won't even extend relief to the millions of families who are having trouble paying the rent or putting food on the table because of this pandemic. But he's been doing...
Okay. Thanks, Obama. He bragged about making America the #1 oil producer in the world at the James Baker Institute. I think that was in 2017. That's his famous, just say thank you, please, comment saying, telling Wall Streeters to leave, they dog him so hard, but guess what? I made all your portfolios go up because I made America the #1 oil producer. Yeah, well, how many trillions of human beings did you just put in jeopardy there, Obama, with your oil, with accelerating global warming due to that capitalist first, profit first behavior? This guy, Barack Obama, is easily responsible for, if you were to divvy up who has responsibility in what caused global warming and how far it goes. He carries a huge amount of responsibility for all that, for not pushing harder for green energy and for all that stuff, as does every American president in the last 30 or 40 years, honestly, and the companies that they take money from. And this whole political system is responsible. This whole capitalism itself is the castle in which all these video game end bosses live. Obama's charming. Obama has a lot of likable characteristics, but man, he is a major problem. And when the final human dies, no one will be around to tell the story of all the villains that got us there. That's also what's kind of sad about it. Hey, maybe we'll put it on a golden record and spit it out into space before we're done. That'd be fun. We tried, but we couldn't get it done. Sorry. That's what the golden record should say in whale, in whale language. All right. So this let's see. I've got two more Obama clips. I think one is actually just a chunk of the other one. So we're just going to play the one. I'm not sure exactly. This is about Donald Trump's Chinese bank. So Donald Trump has a secret bank account in China. Conservatives have all been trained that China is our enemy. They think that China launched the plague on us, that it's a literal biological attack. That's an extremely dangerous idea because it gives them a grounding to then maybe cause some sort of war, some sort of violent exchange, military engagement that escalates. Oh, gee, darn. Oh, gosh, gee, did we have to provoke China in that way in the Taiwan Sea? Or is it the Sea of Taiwan? Sorry. OAG, we're going to have to go to war now. Rah, 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 vote for us. And they're trying something similar with Iran with yesterday's weird FBI announcement saying that the emails being sent to people in Florida saying vote for Trump or we'll come after you are actually from Iran. That's what they came out and claimed. Don't trust anything any of these people say. It's it's so crazy. So let's just see what he says. This is him making a good point. And then we're going to talk about, the extrajudicial killing that Trump has been bragging about. Here's Obama.
We know that he continues to do business with China because he's got a secret Chinese bank account. How is that possible?
So he and his family have like tons of trademark deals with China and licensing stuff and things he's leveraged. He changed American foreign policy for the company ZTE, this Chinese telecommunications company. He even tweeted about it, how he made that company do great or something like that. Trump and China, if the conservatives believe that that China is our enemy, it seems kind of suspicious that the American president is in numerous lines of business with them, including having bank accounts. And we don't know where his $421 million of debt belongs. So it very well could be China. There's a hell of a lot of money in China. Who knows? It's not America because they stopped lending to him because of all the bankruptcies, except for Deutsche Bank. Although I don't know if that's an American company specifically. They're all globalized companies. There's actually been some reporting indicating that it's actually closer to $1 billion or over $1 billion, not just 421 million or whatever the number is. So let's just keep going with this.
How is that possible? A secret Chinese bank account. Listen, can you imagine if I had a secret Chinese bank account?
Could you imagine? I like that Obama's could you imagining Obama. We all do that. I do that all the time. I think probably once a day. Just could you imagine that whole thing?
Can you imagine if I had a secret Chinese bank account?
He's doing it to himself. That's funny. He's right. Al Gore did some fundraising thing. I don't know the details. It always stank of bullshit to me, so I never bothered really learning much about it. That the right went nuts about. Al Gore, Chinese fundraisers. And I think the amounts of money were under 200,000 or something. It wasn't. I don't know what it was. He participated in some ceremony. A lot of these guys are always, at higher levels doing things overseas of varying degrees of in their political, official capacity or not. So I don't know a lot about that detail, but it was nothing like what the Trump family has in terms of links to China and whatnot. Anyway, let's keep going.
When I was running for re-election.
Yeah, his voice broke a little bit. Honk, 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 honk.
You think Fox News might have been a little concerned about that?
No, they're fair and balanced. Of course not.
They would have called me Beijing Barry.
Yes. Beijing Barry. I would have gone with O-Face Obama. Honk, 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 honk.
It is not a great idea to have a president who owes a bunch of money to people overseas. That's not a good idea. I mean, of the taxes Donald Trump pays, he may be sending more to foreign governments than he pays in the United States.
Yeah, the Democrats are really bad at messaging. Could you imagine if Barack Obama had paid 100,000 something to the Philippines? I don't know the numbers, but it's like 17,000 to the Philippines, 400,000 to this and that, in taxes to foreign governments, and $0 or $750 to American. Could you imagine?
His first year in the White House, he only paid $750 in federal income tax. Listen, my first job was at a Baskin Robbins.
Nothing like some really skillful politician reminiscing about your first job in the service business.
When I was 15 years old.
Honk, 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 honk. What if I was just like nuts about that 15?
I think I might have paid more taxes that year working at a dispensing ice cream. How is that possible? How many people here paid less than that?
Honk.
It's possible, just possible now, that if you are living high on the hog and you only pay $750 in taxes, that maybe, just maybe, he might not know what working people are going through here in Pennsylvania.
Here in Pennsylvania. He's got that real down draw. He's good. He's as homie folk old, not homie in the black. Oh God, here it caused me that down homie bullshitty kind of the way that politicians condescend to regular folk, regular Americans. Honk honk. Woo-hoo.
We cannot afford 4 more years of this, Philadelphia. But the good news is, right now you can choose change.
Oh, really? I don't like hearing this guy talk about change. The kind of change he brought us was Trump, which is kind of a return to America's roots, really. If you, yeah.
Right now, you can vote for my friend Joe Biden.
We got the socialists out of the way. I called up Buttigieg. I said, "Hey, get your little fucking ass out of the way, stupid idiot. Don't worry, you're only 34 years old. Whatever, I don't really know. I'm Obama. I don't have to know. You're going to be president when you're 50, okay? Just relax, okay, son? All right? You too, Klobuchar, eating salads out of with a comb in a blizzard. Fucking idiots. Get the hell out of the way. Let Joe Biden win Super Tuesday. We can't let this socialist guy get in our way. I got a Netflix deal."
And his running mate, Kamala Harris, as the next president and vice president of the United States of America.
Yeah, Hong Kong, yeah. Okay, all right. So there you go. Chinese bank account. Didn't I download? I thought I had a bunch of stuff on that. Did I not? The answer is I did. I just didn't have them loaded up on my thing. So here's the New York Times article about Donald Trump's Chinese business pursuits. And this is the story recently that broke about his Chinese bank account. We have a few paragraphs to read here. So president's taxes. This is their big series. I don't know how we're not all still talking about this guy's taxes and stuff. I mean, well, I know how, because everything is distracted by the bullshit fountain. But headline, Trump records shed new light on Chinese business pursuits. Subheading, as he raises questions about his opponent's standing with China, President Trump's taxes reveal details about his own activities there, including a previously unknown bank account. Oh. Like, listen, a person with an international business, do you have money overseas? Not necessarily bad. Okay. The president of a country, not great. Maybe, yeah, he's got but that's why you divest. That's why you're not supposed to be connected to any of this stuff. Let's see here. But, so this isn't all just directly from the whole thing, but, I should have, so I don't have what leads up to this paragraph, but it starts with the word but. But Mr. Trump's own business history is filled with overseas financial deals, and some have involved the Chinese state. He spent a decade unsuccessfully pursuing projects in China, operating an office there during his first run for president, and forging a partnership with a major government-controlled company. And it turns out that China is one of only 3 foreign nations, the others are Britain and Ireland, where Mr. Trump maintains a bank account. So it actually doesn't seem to be that common. According to an analysis of the president's tax records, which were obtained by the New York Times, the foreign accounts do not show up on Mr. Trump's public financial disclosures. So he was trying to hide it. Weird. Where he must list personal assets because they are held under corporate names. The identities of the financial institutions are not clear. The Chinese account is controlled by Trump International Hotels Management, LLC, which the tax records show paid $188,561 in taxes in China while pursuing licensing deals there from 2013 to 2015. Mr. Garten would not identify the bank in China where the account is held. Until last year, China's biggest state-controlled bank rented 3 floors in Trump Tower, a lucrative lease that drew accusations of a conflict of interest for the president. Boy, that's putting it lightly. So they can rent out hotel rooms. They can rent out floors from his buildings. They can do all sorts of. They can give licensing deals to him and his children and their bullshit products. There are so many ways, and we're gonna learn probably not all of them, but there will be a flood, a trickle that'll become another flood. It'll be like a weather system of producing information about how much malfeasance is coming out of all this stuff. I really want to see the accountability for this stuff. Truth and Reconciliation Commissions, criminal charges. If Biden gives all these monsters a pass, I mean, he doesn't have control over state prosecutors, so there's a chance that shit will go down whether Biden tries to stop it or not. Biden's already signaling putting Republicans in his cabinet because that's what Americans want, right? We're so fed up with these monstrous Republican rule that we're willing to put Biden in, and he's going to reward people voting for him by keeping Republicans in power. Even the ones who have who ostensibly reject Trumpism, except they agree with the policies, they just don't like the tone. Like John Kasich, who spoke at the Democratic National Convention, this Ohio governor, just a rotten piece of walking pastrami, fucking idiot. Here's some more information from Forbes about Ivanka's trademark requests that were okay. So here's the headline by our friend Tommy Beer on the Forbes staff. Ivanka's trademark requests were fast-tracked in China after Trump was elected. This is September 22nd, 2020. Top line. The Chinese government granted a total of 41 trademarks to companies linked to Ivanka Trump by April of 2019. And the trademarks she applied for after her father became president got approved about 40% faster than those she requested before Donald Trump's victory in the 2016 election, according to a new book by Forbes senior editor Dan Alexander. Here are the key facts. On March 29th, 2017, Ivanka Trump, the eldest daughter of President Trump, became an official government employee, joining her husband, Jared Kushner, as an advisor to her father. Jared Kushner, I mean, of course I don't have to say, but like, could you imagine if Barack Obama put massive global problems in the hands of Malia's boyfriend or husband? And just a guy with no experience in it whatsoever. Even if he had experience, it's rank nepotism. It's disgusting. Next bullet point down. The day before that appointment, Ivanka applied for 17 new trademarks with the Chinese government. Oh, that's nice. That's cool. So that's good. In early May of 2018, ZTE, a Chinese electronics maker, said that it had halted major operating activities after being penalized by the United States Department of Commerce for breaking sanctions and selling electronics to Iran and North Korea. Yet, in mid-May, President Trump surprisingly reversed course when he indicated a willingness to rethink the punishment and vowed to work with Chinese President Xi Jinping to prevent the collapse of the ZTE. Of the ZTE. That's weird framing. Which employs 75,000 people. With Trump tweeting, "Too many jobs in China lost. Commerce Department has been instructed to get it done." What the fuck? Really? I'm not even making my own personal opinion about whether he should be saving jobs in China or not. I think he should be working to help the Chinese lower classes. I think it's an extremely authoritarian capitalist society. They have immense abuses throughout their system, and they have enormous labor markets that they're able to wield. I'm sure there's all kinds of like devastating human rights violations happening to the lower classes in China. I mean, it's over 1 billion people. There's labor, cheating people out of their labor, underpaying them, paying them slave wages, or having them work as slaves in general, is very profitable. You know what's happening. But the conservatives believe that China is our enemy. They've been trained that by their media, and they're looking for a war because that would be very profitable and a good way to drum up a bunch of patriotic fervor. But yet our president is going on his way to make sure Chinese companies are doing well. It's just insane. It's amazing. I mean, they don't. It's not like their media tells them this stuff. Next slide. That same month, May of 2018, amid tense trade negotiations between China and the United States, China approved 7 Ivanka trademarks, according to Alexander's book, White House Inc. Did Trump do the ZTE deal so that his daughter could get trademark approvals? I'll bet it's a little bit more complicated than that, but seems pretty apparent. Final bullet point here. Alexander's book also details how, quote, after Ivanka met with the Prime Minister of Japan, his country approved 3 trademarks for her business in less than 1/3 of the time it had previously taken, according to an analysis of data from the World Intellectual Property Organization, end quote. And that Canada registered 3 trademarks following Ivanka's sit-down with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. It's just good. It's just smart politics. Give the president's family money, and you might get what you want from the leader of the country. It's what it's supposed to be all about. All right, since it's getting a little long, it's already a little after 3:30 p.m. I need to get this uploaded before the debates at 6 p.m. PST. I was going to do this story about Trump bragging about murdering a guy who had an arrest warrant for murder, I believe, where he dispatched. Well, he may not have known, but there's a little bit there's a little nuance contained in this Intercept article I was going to read, but we're not going to do it now. As with the post office story I've been trying to do for several months. I'm going to try to, we'll save this one for later. But we're just going to play the video really quickly so you have a sense for it. You might have already seen this. This is where he's talking about how the U.S. Marshals, I think it was actually local police who they had deputized as federal police. Basically, they can just say, you're now under our jurisdiction, which is a really efficient way of sending in federal troops, is to just take the local people and tell them they're federals now. So this is Trump bragging about murdering an American extrajudicially, sending a death squad. Whether he knew, so the nuance from here I'm doing it. He tweeted that they should arrest him after they'd already killed him. So the timeline in his tweet was off. But that doesn't change the fact that he's in a rally here bragging to his audience into a microphone. The thing, it's like if you just do corruption publicly, it stops being corruption or something. It's so fucked up. It's so crazy. Even if this guy did commit the murder and they needed to arrest him, and all the witnesses were near that said that they didn't make any attempt to detain him at all. They showed up, they identified him, and they just unloaded guns on him and killed him. It was just a murder. It was a hit. And you know the type of people that are attracted to that sort of police work, particularly in some of these departments where they're fed the same diet that our right-wing relatives are fed, where they don't, they see them as quote unquote enemies and people to be dispatched. A familiar pattern that's existed throughout history where they use violence to impose themselves on people they deem to be contrary to their interests, like leftists and people they label as anarchists and stuff like that. Not to mention just the overall historical, assaults on people of different minorities and things like, and people of different shades of skin tone. So let's just play this real quick, then we'll say goodbye.
We sent in the U.S. Marshals. Took 15 minutes, it was over. 15 minutes, it was over.
Took 15 minutes. We sent him in. Took 15 minutes. We killed a guy in 15 minutes.
We got him. They knew who he was. They didn't want to arrest him. In 15 minutes, that ended.
They knew who he was. They didn't want to arrest him. And then 15 minutes, that ended. Problem solved. They murdered somebody.
Anyway, and they called themselves peaceful protesters.
Fuck you. Fuck this guy. Okay, I'm so hoping this is over. I'm so ready for the end here. There's been a big debate among the lefty world, if you're paying attention, on the Bad Faith podcast with Brianna Joy Gray, Virgil Texas of the Chapo Trap House show. Their interview with Noam Chomsky. I actually just watched a debate on the Surfs Twitch channel with Ben Burgess, a guy who I have a lot of respect for, debating another guy, both lefties, about supporting Biden or being for Biden and what's going to happen here. And there is a pretty substantial contingent on the left that doesn't think anybody should vote for Biden, or that is arguing against voting for Biden, withholding your vote, voting for someone else, writing in someone else. I understand the impulse. I get why they feel angry and feel like it's a mistake and feel like it's just going to not solve the problems that need to be solved. I agree. I am just not persuaded that having Trump and the Trumpism and the conservative and this fascism that these guys represent, and they will be so much more aggressive. They have been incredibly aggressive as it is. They will be so much worse in a second term because it's probably never going to be the end. There's probably never going to be an end to the term. They might have a phony election, but it would be dramatically worsened throughout the entire system. And I'm not for an accelerationist argument. That's an incredibly privileged thing to say that, well, yeah, we got to let it get worse so that we can finally make it better. So people will wake up and we can have elevated conversations and make it all better. It's like, no. Unless you're the one, you're not the one that's going to be bearing the brunt of that. It's going to be a bunch of powerless people just on the cabinet appointments and all this other stuff. Biden is a return to the corruption that we saw under Obama. So I'm not persuaded that anybody's causes will be advanced by having Trump in. That's insane. We have to fight against Biden from the minute he gets in, the second, from before. But getting the Trumps out is absolutely, in this current moment, the better of the two possible outcomes. The time to fight about things, the time to make your stand is in the primaries. And by the way, electoral politics is just one factor of a big constellation of ways of not imposing, but fighting. What's the word? That's an I word. I'm thinking, not implementing of accessing and building coalitions and building power, doing the work from the ground up in a really difficult way. This system sucks. This American system, this two-party system is insane. I mean, we have two wings of the capitalist party, Democrats and Republicans. So the billionaires' interests are served no matter whether it's Biden or Trump. And Bernie will probably be the chair of the shit. He'll have a very powerful position in the Senate, especially the Senate is more important than anything else, because if the Democrats don't have the Senate, let's say they have the presidency too, it's just going to be gridlock. Mitch McConnell's rotting, by the way. He's got some illness or something where his hands are turning like pillar of salt black, like they're just like these gnarly claws, and he's got like weird things going on with his face and his skin. It's like he's molting into his true form or something. He's finally about to exit his chrysalis. There's these pictures of him and he just looks awful. He looks horrible. I'm not worried about him. I hope he's meaning I don't have compassion for this guy. He's one of the most rotten people on the planet, and he's equal to Trump in terms of nefariousness and evil and corruption. I mean, Mitch McConnell is absolutely just one of the worst people. Like Emperor Palpatine's got nothing on this guy, but he's molting into his true form or whatever. It's haunting and scary. But he is a evil guy, and he will completely lock everything down if the Democrats don't take the Senate. But with the Senate, with enough down ballot voting, I voted for Biden out of anger. I didn't like doing it. I hate doing it. I hated voting for Hillary. I was voting against Trump both times. The system forces us to choose those two things. And the people who say it's not going to improve have a point. You don't fix the system by rewarding it, is something they might say. But it's also not fixed by making it far worse. And our choices are between worse and far worse. Who do you want to fight, Biden or Trump? And in the meantime, the administrative state will be preserved via, and I say that in contrast to what Steve Bannon, Trump's first campaign advisor, and one of his campaign managers, not Paul Manafort. Like so many of his campaign managers have been in jail. Biden or Steve Bannon said that one of his goals is to bring about the destruction of the administrative state. The presidency oversees all these different departments throughout the cabinet, and they're extremely important. The National Labor Relations Board under Trump has made it harder to unionize. Biden is not. He claims to be union friendly. He's a big business, big corporate guy. I don't imagine that he'll be doing a lot better, but I do think that people that Biden's going to appoint, aside from the fucking Republicans he's going to put in, yeah, I mean, it's painful. The whole thing sucks. It's really, really, really shitty to be in this position, particularly if you have this perspective from the left, because you can see the world so clearly in terms of power and see that the wrong people are always in power. And we need to change that. So, but yet you're forced to choose, one of the devil's claws that is slightly less pointy, and that's really not okay. But I'm just not persuaded that Trump having 4 more years in power is going to advance any leftist's cause whatsoever, short term or long term. I think that's part of the issue with this debate is it's kind of like arguing past each other because you're talking about different timescales. I think. I don't know. Okay. Well, this has been great. I feel like I'm back. Fucking screensaver just killing me. Thanks for listening. Check me out on Twitch. Give us a look. I know it's a weird thing. If you haven't been on, or I was skeptical and kind of understandably, you should be too. But there's some good politics on there. Maybe just watch Ben Dixon. Ben Dixon's great. He's always cranking stuff out. But I'd love it if you came by and we can talk. You can send me messages and stuff, and come say hello. You need an account to do that. You don't have to pay. Accounts are free. You can follow for free. But I don't think you need an account to just go on there and watch stuff. So twitch.tv/winners and losers. In the future, I mean, my streams have been getting very low numbers, and that's totally expected. And I'm looking at it as like I'm building a library for finding for eventually when I start going on other shows or having other guests come on and building out this audience, there'll be more views. But I don't remember where I was going at. But it's an interesting, it's a kind of an exciting way to interact with someone who has a show on there. So you're invited. Come on over. And it's going to evolve over time too. And you get to watch a bunch of little shrimps running around too. And that's it's more entertaining than you think. You know how like staring at a cat is fun? Well, think of it like 50 tiny cats with about 30 tiny cat babies. So give it a look or don't. I'm just glad that you listened to this. Thank you so much. Hope your things are going well in your life. Hope you're doing whatever you got to do, even if you're not voting for Biden. No, I'm not looking. You don't. Whatever. Don't. That's fine. I don't shame anybody for any decision. It's not a powerful enough thing to shame someone over, but I am persuaded that a landslide victory is more important than some sort of personal statement that I would try to make via my ballot. So that's all. Thanks for listening. Take care of yourself. Talk to you again soon. Getting a lot of stuff out these days, so there's tons of shit on the website, on the YouTube to watch if you want to go into the Twitch archive. And so be well, be safe, and remember, honk honk, honk 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 honk, honk 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 honk.